I want you to picture this for a second. It is 3 o'clock in the morning, your eyes are open, your mind is spinning, and you are doing that painful little negotiation with yourself. Should I take another gummy? Did the first one work? Why am I still awake? And that moment is exactly why this conversation matters. Because millions of people are not bad sleepers. They are exhausted, frustrated, and trying to solve a real biological problem with a product that was never meant to be treated like candy. Melatonin is not a knockout drug. It is a hormone, a darkness signal, released by the pineal gland to help tell your brain that night has arrived. So here is the whistleblower part, and I want to say it with compassion. If you are chewing 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams, or even 20 milligrams gummies every night, you are not using melatonin the way your biology intended it to be used. In the human body, nightly melatonin is generally a small signal, physiology-level signaling, not a megadose blast. Reviews describe normal nocturnal or near physiologic dosing in the range of about 0.1 to 0.3 milligrams for circadian signaling. That means a 10 milligrams gummy is not a little extra help. It is a very different biological message. And when people keep taking it night after night, they often report the same thing you have probably felt. They may fall asleep, but they still wake up, they feel foggy in the morning, and they begin to wonder why something that is supposed to help sleep seems to be making sleep feel less restorative. Melatonin supplements can cause next-day drowsiness and other mild side effects, and major sleep medicine guidance does not recommend melatonin as a treatment for chronic insomnia in adults. This is where the biology gets important. Your pineal gland is not there to sedate you, it is there to synchronize you. It works like a timekeeper, rising in darkness and falling when light returns, helping set the timing of your circadian rhythm. In other words, melatonin is the message that night has started, not the force that knocks you out. That distinction changes everything. Because if you misunderstand melatonin as a sleeping pill, you may keep escalating the dose, chasing a result it was never designed to deliver. The AASM's clinical guideline says clinicians should not use melatonin for sleep onset or sleep maintenance insomnia in adults. That does not mean melatonin has no role at all. It means chronic insomnia is more complex than a gummy can solve on its own. And I need to pause here for an important medical note. This video is for educational purposes only. Chronic insomnia can be a symptom of severe depression, anxiety, or thyroid issues. Please consult with a healthcare provider or a sleep specialist if your insomnia is impacting your daily functioning or mental health. That matters because not every 3 a.m. waking is about low melatonin. Sometimes the real driver is stress physiology, a hyper-alert nervous system, medication effects, sleep apnea, blood sugar instability, thyroid dysfunction, or mood-related sleep fragmentation. In other words, insomnia is often a systems problem, not a single hormone problem. So here is the promise of this masterclass. I am not asking you to become anti-melatonin. I am asking you to become biologically literate. Because when you understand what melatonin actually is, you stop using it like a sedative, stop escalating the dose like it is harmless candy, and start asking the better question. What is keeping my nervous system activated at night in the first place? That is the real breakthrough. Not more hormone. Better sleep architecture. Not brute force. Better timing. Not chasing unconsciousness. Supporting the nervous system so sleep can happen the way it is supposed to happen. And in the next section, I am going to show you exactly why the pineal gland, dose size, and circadian timing matter so much. Let us go straight into the pineal gland, because this is where the conversation becomes biological instead of emotional. The pineal gland is a tiny structure deep in the brain that helps regulate circadian timing by releasing melatonin mainly in darkness. Think of it as part of the body's night signal system, not a sedative factory, not a knockout switch, and not a candy dispenser. In a healthy rhythm, melatonin rises at night and falls in daylight, helping synchronize sleep-wake timing. Here is the dose reality most people never hear. Reviews of human physiology describe near physiologic nighttime melatonin signaling at roughly 0.1 to 0.3 milligrams. That means a 10 milligrams gummy is not a small boost. It is about 33 times the 0.3 milligrams end of that physiologic range. And if you compare it to 0.1 milligrams, it is even higher. A 5 milligrams gummy is still far above what your pineal gland normally needs to send its nightly message. And this is where people get trapped by the bottle. The body does not experience melatonin as sleep magic. It experiences it as a signal. When the signal is flooded repeatedly at much higher than physiologic doses, you are no longer working with a natural night cue. You are imposing a pharmacologic exposure. Now, to be medically precise, the exact long-term receptor effects in otherwise healthy adults are not fully settled. I am not going to pretend the science proves a dramatic, receptor burnout story in every person. What the science does support is that melatonin is a hormone with limited long-term safety data at supplement doses, and higher doses increase the chance of unwanted next-day effects. There is another piece people miss. Melatonin supplements are not always as clean and predictable as the label implies. NCCIH notes that some products may not contain what is listed on the bottle, which means the dose you think you are taking is not always the dose your body actually receives. That matters when someone is already sleeping lightly, waking at 3 a.m., and trying to fix it by taking more. The problem is no longer just dose size. It is dose uncertainty on top of biological mismatch. And I want to say this gently, because many people have been told the opposite. Melatonin is not a reliable answer for chronic insomnia in adults. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine suggests clinicians not use melatonin to treat sleep onset or sleep maintenance insomnia in adults. That does not mean melatonin never has a role. It means chronic insomnia is usually not solved by forcing the body harder with a bigger hormone dose. It is a timing and regulation problem, not a more gummies problem. So what is actually happening when people keep taking higher and higher doses? In many cases, they are not improving sleep architecture. They are chasing sleep onset. And that is not the same thing. The pineal gland's job is to help coordinate timing. The bigger issue in insomnia is often that the nervous system is still too activated for sleep to deepen and hold. Sleep itself runs through distinct stages, including non-REM sleep and REM sleep, and deep sleep is part of a larger architecture that depends on the brain being able to downshift naturally. That is why the real question is not, how do I take more melatonin? The better question is, why is my body not getting the clean darkness signal and nervous system downshift it needs? Once you ask that, the whole strategy changes. You stop treating sleep like a chemical battle and start treating it like a biological rhythm that needs timing, light exposure, stress regulation, and the right support. And that is the bridge into the next chapter, because the next thing you need to understand is what happens when people mistake melatonin for a sleep architecture solution. And why the 3 a.m. wake up can still happen even after the gummy. Now we get to the part almost nobody explains correctly. Sleep architecture. Sleep is not one uniform state. It cycles through non-REM and REM stages in repeating patterns across the night, usually every 80 to 100 minutes. Deep sleep is part of non-REM sleep, especially stage N3, and REM is the dreaming stage that comes later in the cycle. That architecture is not decorative, it is how the brain and body recover. So when I say melatonin is not a sedative, this is what I mean. Melatonin helps signal that it is dark and that the timing is right for sleep, but it does not replace the deeper work of sleep continuity, stage progression, and nervous system downshifting. That is why people can take a large gummy, fall asleep faster, and still wake up feeling like the night never fully restored them. The sleep may have started, but the architecture did not necessarily improve. The AASM guideline also recommends against using melatonin for chronic insomnia in adults. which is another clue that insomnia is not just a melatonin problem. And this is why so many people keep waking up around 3 a.m. In the early morning hours, the body begins shifting toward wakefulness again, and cortisol normally starts rising before the final push into morning alertness. If you are already stressed, hypervigilant, underfueled, or fragile in your sleep, that normal rise can feel like an abrupt wake up. In addition, nocturnal low blood sugar is a real trigger for sleep disruption in some people, especially those with glucose instability. So the person says, "But I took melatonin." Yes, and that is exactly the problem. You may have used a night signal, but the thing waking you at 3 a.m. is often not a lack of sedative. It is a nervous system that never fully stood down. That is why treating insomnia like a simple hormone deficiency can miss the real story. Stress hormones, unstable glucose, light exposure, anxiety, sleep apnea, medications, and circadian mismatch can all fragment the night. Now, let us talk about the part people feel in their body. Some melatonin users report vivid dreams or nightmares, and next-day drowsiness is a known side effect. That does not automatically mean melatonin is supposed to do that. It means higher or poorly timed doses can shift how the night feels, especially when the supplement is being used repeatedly in a way the body was never meant to interpret as a nightly meal-sized dose of hormone. People often describe this as, "I slept, but I did not feel restored." That phrase matters, because restorative sleep is not just about unconscious time in bed. It is about progression through the sleep cycle, enough deep non-REM sleep, and a nervous system that is not being yanked back into alertness. Deep sleep, stage N3, is associated with large slow delta waves, and that stage is part of the architecture that helps sleep feel truly regenerative. So here is the whistleblower conclusion for this chapter. If you keep flooding the system with high-dose melatonin, you may be getting a stronger signal without getting better sleep architecture. That is why some people keep chasing bigger gummies while their sleep remains fragmented, their mornings remain foggy, and their nights remain fragile. The solution is not to overpower biology. It is to understand what is preventing the brain from settling into stable cycles in the first place. And that is exactly where the next chapter begins. Lowering the stress response, supporting the nervous system, and giving the brain the conditions it needs to enter deep sleep naturally. Now we move from problem to strategy. And I want to be careful here. The goal is not to force sleep. The goal is to make the body safe enough to sleep. Chronic insomnia is often maintained by hyperarousal, a brain and nervous system that stay too alert for too long, which is exactly why the American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommends CBTI as the initial treatment for chronic insomnia in adults. That is why I do not think in terms of more melatonin. I think in terms of lowering the stress response, improving circadian timing, and giving the nervous system the raw materials it needs to settle. Cortisol follows a normal daily rhythm, but when stress physiology is chronically elevated, sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented, and easier to break. The better question is not how to sedate the brain harder, it is how to help the brain feel less threatened at night. This is where a magnesium and botanical support formula can fit in as an adjunct, not a replacement for medical care. Magnesium is popular because it is involved in normal nervous system function, but the research on magnesium for insomnia is still limited and mixed. NCCIH notes that evidence is low quality and not strong enough to make confident treatment claims. So the honest position is this. Magnesium may support relaxation in some people, but it is not a miracle cure, and it is not a substitute for a proper sleep evaluation. Some botanical ingredients also have early evidence for stress support, but again, the language has to stay honest. For example, NCCIH says some ashwagandha preparations may be effective for insomnia and stress, while also making clear that the evidence is still limited and product-specific. That is exactly the kind of nuance that matters here. A well-designed formula like Renew should be thought of as a way to support calmer physiology. Not to replace melatonin, not to override your biology, and not to serve as a standalone treatment for chronic insomnia. So here is the framework. You are not trying to knock yourself unconscious. You are trying to create the conditions for deep sleep to emerge naturally. That means respecting your circadian rhythm, reducing the nighttime stress response, and using supportive tools only as part of a bigger plan. And I want to say this clearly. Always consult a sleep specialist or qualified healthcare provider before changing supplements, especially if your insomnia is chronic, severe, or affecting your mental health or daily functioning. The smartest sleep plan is the one that treats the whole system. Let us bring this all together. The biggest mistake people make with melatonin is not that they are desperate. It is that they are desperate and they have been given the wrong frame. They think sleep is a switch to be forced. But sleep is a rhythm to be supported. Once you understand that melatonin is a hormone signal, not a sedative hammer, you stop asking, "How do I take more?" and start asking, "What is my body trying to tell me at night?" So stop overriding your biology with massive doses of hormones. Respect the pineal gland. Respect your circadian rhythm. Respect the fact that deep sleep is built by a nervous system that feels safe enough to downshift. If melatonin has become a nightly habit that leaves you groggy, frustrated, or dependent on the ritual, that is not a failure of willpower. It is a signal to step back and rebuild the foundation of sleep more intelligently. That is why a biological support strategy may make more sense than hormone chasing. A magnesium and botanical option like Renew is not about knocking you out. It is about helping support calmer nighttime physiology, lowering the stress load, and giving your nervous system better conditions for natural sleep architecture. That is how you think like someone who understands biology, not like someone trapped in a gummy cycle. If this opened your eyes, check the link in the description for the Botanical Deep Sleep Support Blueprint. And please remember, this video is for educational purposes only. Chronic insomnia can be a symptom of severe depression, anxiety, thyroid issues, sleep apnea, or other medical conditions. Please consult with a healthcare provider or a sleep specialist if your insomnia is impacting your daily functioning or mental health.